All right, this video is for engine bay access and putting the roof into service mode for a 2018 Porsche 718 GTS. I haven't seen a lot in the way of any helpful videos or instructions on doing this, so hopefully this will help somebody out in the same way that I was looking for video. I'm going to just try to go through this step by step and take some photos and things to show the various areas, and ultimately we'll wind up doing a engine air filter change on this. So I hope this helps you out. All right, along the way you're ultimately going to have to wind up opening the rear trunk to be able to get the window glass raised on this. So I'm just going to go ahead and raise the rear hatch now. Alright, this is one of the areas that seemed like it's the most difficult. This has been kind of hard to get good video with the windows tinted on the back of my wife's car. But basically, if you come over here on the driver's side or the passenger side, either one, and you put a light in here like this and look down, you will actually see the cables. I've tried to do this, but I get too much reflection, so I don't know if you can actually see that, but basically right there, that is where the head of the tension, those cables, that's where that is. I know that's blurry, but the camera won't focus on it through the glass. But right there where the light is shining, if you go to basically it faces towards the outside quarter panel, and you'll pull it towards, it looks like it'll pull towards the engine bay. So once we get to that point, I'll see if I can figure it out and figure out a way to shoot a video that shows everybody. But at least that shows with the roof fully up, that's the position where that cable is, and you're going to have to reach in through the roll bar. When you move that windscreen off of there, you'll have to reach your hand in and just feel and get it from there. But it looks pretty straightforward from what I can see. You'll be able to reach your hand in there and get that undone. All right, the way I'm going to go about this is I'm just going to go ahead and remove the center windscreen, and then basically the screens that are on the back of the roll bar. Basically push them forward through, move the seat all the way forward, tilt it forward so that you can get in, because you're going to need to be able to reach your arm in to be able to access those cables. Where they're going to be, basically with the top down, you can see this right here. The cables are like right down here. Obviously you can't get to them with the top up, so that's why you have to put it in service mode. But essentially your cable is going to be here, and it's going to attach in this way, so your pull is going to be basically away from the body of the car towards the motor. Okay, I've removed the windscreens, the two off of the roll bars here. They just push through from the back, and then obviously you just release the parts here to get the center windscreen out. But basically that's going to be able to make it where you can reach through. I went ahead and moved the seats forward and tilted them forward, so I'll be able to straddle in there. I'm a pretty big guy, so hopefully I can get in there and kind of straddle the center console and reach my arm through. But basically you're going to reach your arm through and then over here to the side of the car to get through. So, and that's ultimately what you're going to wind up with. All right, the first step, you're going to want to put your roof basically up or back, if you had it up to start with, to where it's 4, 5, 6 inches, whatever. You may have to adjust it slightly once you reach in and find those cables, because all you're trying to do is open the roof enough that you can release those two cables, one on the driver's side, one on the passenger side, so that you can basically get the rear glass up. Like I said, I've got the trunk closed right now. I'll go ahead and open the trunk, and just don't forget to do that, because you won't be able to get that window up with the rear trunk down like it is right now. Okay, rear trunk is open on the car now. I've basically got the roof where it needs to be, and basically the next step is going to be to come inside the car and basically reach through here and down. And I know this is probably terrible video, but you basically reach through and down and release the cable from the inside. Okay, here we go. So we're going to reach our hand through the backrest, the head loop, and find the cable, reach down in, and it pops out just that easily. And we'll just do the same thing on the other side. With both of the tensioner cables now disconnected, we need to move the roof further back. You're going to move it back to where it's open about 30 inches so that you'll be able to raise the rear glass up. Don't forget to open the rear trunk before you do that, because you won't be able to get the glass up without the rear trunk open. Alright, I've got the rear trunk up, and I went ahead, since I'm doing this with one hand, and pulled the glass up. It's a little tight, but you just have to pull it through. Basically, you'll pull the rear glass up, and then you'll have the holding strap that's right here that you'll have to unclip and loop it around the front. Alright, with the rear strap undone, basically it's just got these little plastic posts that you just have to pull out. I just did it by hand. You can use a trim removal tool if you feel better about it, but just a little tension on the strap and you can get them to pop right out. Take the strap, and you're going to loop it around the front edge up here. Well, basically, it was hard to do with one hand, so I had to put the camera down, but you're just going to run the strap around, come around up here on the front portion of the convertible top, loop it around right there, and that'll hold your rear glass up so that you have access to the engine compartment area back here. And here's the metal cables that we just undid in the previous step, and where they go right here, there is a post, and it just attaches right back onto that when it comes time to put it back in. The next step will be to remove this carpet cover. Again, I'm going to have to put the camera down while I do this, but it's pretty simple. You just go along the edges and pull the carpet out from everywhere where it's tucked in, and then you'll remove it from the compartment, and then we'll get to the sound deadener next. Alright, the rear carpet is removed. It just pulls out, and then the next thing you have is this sound barrier. You'll just have to do the same kind of thing. Basically, it just pulls up, and you'll have to remove it from the engine compartment once you get it there. But basically, you see there, and then there's the metal engine cover that we'll deal with next. So in order to be able to do this, I'll put the camera down, and we'll get this removed, and then we'll get on to the engine cover. Okay, once you got the sound shield there, the rubber sound deadener out, then what you're going to have is the metal shield, and you have a series of T30 screws that go all the way around the perimeter, and then there's a couple up in the front that we'll have to remove, and there's also a piece of foam insulation up in there that we'll also have to get out. We have everything removed except for the last two screws, which are up here basically on the front bulkhead. You got this piece of foam in here that you have to remove, and then the last two screws, there's one there and one on the other side that we'll have to get out. Alright, I have all the screws. Had to use a very small ratchet to break the front two screws loose, and then basically once I got them broke loose, I just used fingers and was able to get them loose. So the next part is to remove the actual engine cover and get it out. And for obvious reasons, I'm going to go in and get a quilt and cover the rear trunk here just to make sure we don't get any scratches on it or anything. Got a lot of sharp edges, so just be careful and take your time trying to get it out. All right, I got a couple of wool blankets and just draped them over the trunk and then tucked them in so that one, it stays protected, and two, gives you a little bit more room because it's pretty tight to get this engine cover out. All right, live and learn. There are a couple of additional screws that are up here in the center portion. I had seen some videos where they talked about removing the speaker covers and then pulling the carpet free from the interior of the passenger side to be able to access those screws. I'd also seen somebody saying you didn't have to do that on the newer 718s, but I'm just here to confirm that you are going to have to do that. I could not get anything in there to actually get to the screw heads to loosen them up, so we're going to have to remove the speaker cover. I'll probably just go ahead and do it on both, and then pull the carpet from the interior trim here to be able to get access basically over the bulkhead from the passenger compartment of the vehicle to be able to get these last two screws so we can get the engine cover out. All right, both of the speaker covers are removed. And what you're going to have to do is come in here with some type of hook tool. And basically you have this tab right here that you're going to have to pull up on the carpet to get it up over to release it. And then you'll be able to pull the carpet out from the top up here all the way along so that you'll be able to get to the screws, which are back here under this. Okay. Now I've pulled the carpet free. Basically, once you get that up over those tabs, you just pull on the carpet and it'll just pull right out. As you can see right through there, right there where the light is pointing here, I don't know if you can see, but there's one of the screws and then there's one on the passenger side that it's just much easier to access it this way. Like I said, I couldn't get anything in there to be able to get any kind of pressure to break them free. So this is going to be the easiest way to access those screws is through the passenger compartment. Okay, we got the engine cover removed. It took a little work. I would definitely recommend some type of cover on your rear trunk lid. I didn't really ever hit it, but they were very close to it. I had to move the glass around a little bit to actually get it to release. There's actually like a little bit of a lip on the upper portion of that. But I was able to get it out. Like I said, just take your time and work slowly and methodically and you'll be able to get it out. Next part for us is going to be the air box. We'll go ahead and get these, looks like they're maybe T25s, and get these out and get the air filter changed. All right, we got the 3 T25 screws out. You have 1, 2, and 3. And then there's 2 clamps that are on the air box. One here and one over here. And then your air box cover should just lift basically right, comes right out. So I'll get that off of here in a second. It's kind of hard to do with one hand holding the camera. So I will get that. Actually, there's one more screw right there that I could not see, but you have to remove that one as well. All right, like I said, this is my first time doing one of these on a 718, so I'm living and learning. The 4th screw is on the passenger side of the air box, and it is probably 2 inches lower than all the rest of the screws. So standing on the driver's side, I couldn't see it, but basically the 4th screw is right there. So, and then the 2 latches get released, and then you just have to finagle it a little bit to get the air box cover off. But there's the air filter. We're going to go ahead and get it changed out and start buttoning everything back up. Very interesting. All right, so we've had this car for about 3 months. It was a 2018 with 19,000 miles. I haven't seen anything that showed that it had ever had the air filter cleaned, but there's what's in the air box. Pretty nasty. And as I showed you, there's the air filter and what was in there. So looks like this is going to be something I'm going to have to stay on top of. But I don't know that the air filter has ever been changed on this car. So it's got, I think it's right at 24,000 miles now. And like I said, I'm doing a major maintenance on it. Just doing all the filters and the oil filter. And I may go ahead and do the spark plugs as well. So, but that's what we're looking at a 24,000 mile vehicle. Like I said, it's 6 years old, and it doesn't look like the air filter's ever been changed. All right, I've got the engine cover back in. Some things I just discovered. All right, very much, definitely covering your rear trunk lid is going to be a must, especially for putting this thing back in. What I found was the 2 center posts on that cover where the screws go there in the middle part of the bulkhead. That part, when you stick it in, is actually going to catch on the front part of the bulkhead. So what I found was if you reach in underneath the engine cover and push up, and you're going to have to basically do this on each side, you're just going to have to walk it in, get it in, and you're going to wind up with the engine cover resting on top of these 2 little metal pieces, one on each side. Get it onto that, and then you'll be able to basically work it past the little gasket material here that's on the back portion of where the roof meets with the trunk lid. But otherwise it went in pretty good. the airbox cover, there's two tabs on the bottom of it that you have to make sure that you get in, and the screws are capture screws, so they will fall back down inside there, and you just have to make sure you get them up enough to get them back in the screw holes. But other than that, everything else was pretty straightforward. Like I said, just take your time on this trunk or this engine cover, because it is a bit of a challenge to get it in. And like I said, I would 100% recommend some type of cover, something thick. Like I said, I used wool just to make sure, because it will definitely scratch your trunk lid if you're trying to put this thing in by yourself and those tabs come in contact with your trunk. So, all right, let's get this thing fastened back in and buttoned back up. All right, everything's back together. No major problems. Like I said, just really have to take your time. The one thing I did find is when you put the carpet back in that covers the engine cover, where it goes in here along the roll bar cover, it's kind of difficult to get it up under there. So what I wound up doing is just taking the roll bar covers off. Basically, when you have the wind deflector out, this middle strip, you have to pull it out. There's 4 screws in there. You take those out, pull the front covering off of the roll bar cover, and then there'll be a screw here and a screw there on the other side. Once you take those out, basically everything just comes right off, and all I did was pull the carpet up, and there's no real rhyme or reason to it. You just kind of get it up, and you'll see the little crease that's on the carpet where the underside of the roll bar cover sits on top of it. You don't have to tuck it in or anything. There's 2 little tabs where the roll bars are that you can tuck down in on the sides right at the roll bar. But other than that, it's pretty straightforward. Took me a couple of hours, like I said, first time doing this, and learned a little bit while I was doing it. But I think it was well worth it, and probably saved a pretty good bit of money. So that's it. I hope this helps. I know I couldn't find anything when I was looking, so hopefully this helps everybody out and gives somebody the guidance that I was looking for when I was trying to find out how to do this. Have a good one.